Hello and welcome to the Cup of Triathlon podcast. We're brought to you every week by our sponsors, oxygenaddict.com.
Triathlon coaching with Coach Rob.
We are bikehouse.co.uk.
For all your cycling needs.
And who else are we sponsored by, Helen? My mind's gone blank.
Triathlon Box.
Triathlonbox.co.uk.
To keep everything neat in transition.
Tell you what, Helen, it's been one of those days already, hasn't it, eh?
Oh, yeah.
If there are any product software developers out there who've got ways to record Skype calls, man, if you can find a good way to do it that doesn't crash every third minute, we'll buy it, won't we, Helen?
Yeah, definitely. Mine's just disappeared.
Has it really?
Yeah, it's just gone. So I might have...
Yours is off the computer completely. Mine's more temperamental than I don't know what. Anyway, here we are. We're back and we're online. Helen, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you very much, Rob. I am
Someone's been
fine.
out training in the cold.
Yeah, we had winter yesterday, it seemed.
Yeah, so I was away. I went away for the weekend down to London town, and it was baking down there.
Nice.
And then I saw your text when I got back, and was it cold up here then?
Oh, well, the heavens decided to open. It was, it wasn't freezing. It wasn't like it was minus temperatures, but the heavens opened and it like really, really chucked it down. And then when you can feel water that goes and it goes through your bike shoes, and then your socks are soaked, and then the moment you feel it actually going and sort of going through your back, and you're like, oh God, it's cold. So yeah, I got a little bit cold on my bike, so called it a day.
So it really was a perfect Ironman UK race simulation ride then, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was what I was thinking. And I was actually thinking when I couldn't see through my right eye for about an hour because the the rain was so strong. And I just kept on trying to blink and get rid of probably some crap in the eye, and it just wasn't happening. And then I had my sunglasses on, which is clearly an error in the rain. But obviously, if I took them off, then I wouldn't have any protection over my eyes, and also I wouldn't really be able to see much anyway. So I was just cycling a little bit blind for about an hour, and I thought
It's a tough one though, isn't it? You want to have the sunnies on,
God,
so you got some protection, but at the same time, once the rain gets on
couldn't
there,
see a
you're kind
thing.
of gooned.
I could not see a thing. And then I was thinking, right, this is really not very fun. If it was this bad in Bolton, like what would and I got that cold, I was thinking, what would I actually do? Would I just say, you know what, screw this, like life's too short? Or would I be man up, Helen, and just keep going? Because it can't rain that heavily for like 6-7 hours. Yes, it can. It's
Of course it
Bolton.
can.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Exactly.
It did last year, didn't it? It was absolutely horrendous for the first few hours. Do you remember?
Yep.
I think you've got to sit down and go, right, if it was like this on race day, what would I
Well,
wear?
yeah,
It's
totally.
like a big thing for anyone racing long distance races. I did Ironman Australia back in the day, and it was freezing in the run up to it. They had like 4 or 5 days of rain, and it was 10 degrees every day. And I ended up going and buying an old tracksuit from a charity shop and doing the whole ride, like having trained in 30 odd degrees every day for
No.
4 months. I did the ride in an old like a
Shell suit?
like a football manager's tracksuit top, 2 sizes too small, so it was kind of tight. That was what I was thinking. But looking back on the photos of it now, I just look like a right spoon. A purple tracksuit top.
Oh my God, that sounds quite 80s.
Yeah, it was. It was horrendous. But you've got to stay warm, haven't you? I was thinking if this was a 6 hour training ride, would I be going out just wearing a tri-suit?
No, that's the thing. And so clearly yesterday I hadn't prepared for bad weather. So it caught me out. And yeah, I was thinking when I got back, okay, fine, I would have taken overshoes. I would have taken a full jacket rather than just a gilet. And I would have put a jacket on.
So you went out without a jacket, did you, yesterday?
Yep, just had a gilet. I had a gilet, an arm, and no, honestly, it was fine, but I wasn't expecting the rain to come quite when it did. So
Man, the problem with living where we do is you ride an hour from your house, you get to the Peak District, and it can be winter in the Peak District in an hour's time, can't it?
yeah.
I remember riding over to the Goit Valley
Oh,
and
nice.
starting up there, and it was sort of sleeting on me in June. And I remember I've got it written in a training diary in block capital letters so big, it makes me laugh still. Always take a rain jacket to the Peak District. Like the middle of summer, and you think it's going to be a beautiful day.
Yeah, it is. So there you go. Bad prep.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But you know what? Tough ride, great training.
Exactly. So I was an hour short of what I was meant to do, but I kind of think no, it
What
was
did you get done? Did you get 5 hours done?
5 hours.
Well done.
So
That's a solid
and a
ride when
and
you're
a
cold the whole time.
well, no, and I'd say I was really like the rain probably started around 3 and 3/4 hours. So I had a good
Okay.
hour and a quarter of riding in the pissing rain with not much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right when you've had
Yeah.
enough. You don't need that, do
No,
you?
no. And nutrition update this week, Rob. One peanut butter wrap, one honey wrap, and a Cliff Bar.
So we're slowly getting towards the kind of calories a normal human would eat in an hour, aren't we?
Yeah. So hey, got a few more weeks to build up those calories.
We need to get some kind of like aid station thing. You know how they force feed geese when we need to get someone at the roadside, get rich at the roadside with like a those like icing sugar bags that they use on cakes with gel in, and you can kind of pop your head back, and you can squirt 300 calories down your neck, and you can set off again.
Oh God, yeah, like a factory. In you
Yeah,
come, squirt. Carry on.
factory calories, and off you
Oh
go.
God. Yeah. Anyway, working on it, working on it. So
Good for you.
yeah.
That's good. Well done, mate. Tough ride done in the rain. Got
Thanks.
some more calories in, 2 boxes ticked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you kind of recovered the enthusiasm yet? Because that's always the thing that goes, isn't it, during
What
the
after the
back end of a
rain?
ride like that? You know, and you're like, somebody offer me 100 quid and you can have all this bike.
I spent an hour cleaning the damn thing afterwards. That was what made it even worse. It's like, well, I can't go out on
Yeah.
my bike again now until I've cleaned it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a nice shiny bike to go out next time I have to go out for another few hours. I've got to the point whereby I want to ride somewhere for a reason rather than just riding around in sort of what it feels to me like riding around in circles for 5 hours.
Yeah.
So in a way, I want to like get a train somewhere and then ride home because then it's like I
Yeah.
know I'm
No, I know what you mean.
getting home. Oh, it's the
You,
psychological
you've
mind
kind of
games,
got to
isn't
set
it?
yourself that's a beautiful thing with a power meter. You can set yourself like a target and divide the ride into chunks and go, right, the target of this lap is this. But you've got to be in a really specific mindset, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah. Yet to get to that specific mindset, but we'll work our way there, Rob. We've got a few more weeks.
It's all going to be over in a few weeks, Helen. You got to
Thank,
get yourself there, mate.
thank blooming God, I've got to that point now.
That's the 4 week slump, isn't it, or the 5 week slump where you just like, the race is still miles away, and I've just had enough of training. I've just had enough. Just I'm done with it.
On the edge,
Yeah, woman on the
on the
edge.
edge. Yeah.
I'm going out for my long ride tomorrow, so I'm hoping the weather's going to be kind.
Oh,
Gonna try and stack I don't know what. See how long I've got between the opening hours of, of my son's childcare tomorrow to try and get a long ride in.
now you're clearly going to go hills, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm gonna be going up and down every hill in the Peak District tomorrow.
Fantastic.
The new skin suit just arrived, Helen.
Oh, tell me.
The new Team Oxygen Addict kit just got delivered, and we've got these what can only be described as specialist lycra wear.
What? As
You
in,
know those proper sort of Matt Botterill speed
yeah, yeah,
suit
yeah.
type
As in,
things,
like aero, full on aero,
like
giving.
full on aero
Yep.
suits. I took it out of the packet and I was like, this has shrunk in the wash. It's Xander could wear it, no problems. When it's fresh out of the packet. Looks like the kind of thing he wears at the beach. It's about that side.
Oh my.
And you put it on and it stretches like a super duper suit. It's
Oh
incredible.
wow. And it's comfy.
Oh, it's brilliant,
Decent
yeah.
padding.
It it's like wearing a second skin. It's really, really good. The the arms are all kind of, I don't know, they've got like a silicon thing, and the leg grippers have got a silicon thing impregnated in them.
Oh wow.
So yeah, hats off to Race Skin. If anyone's looking for kit to get made, would give them a shout out. It's good
And Rob,
stuff.
do you have to be a Team Oxygen Addict member to get your hands on one of these race skin suit things?
I don't know actually. The thing with it is you had to have a batch of the kit made.
Yeah.
So it's like there's an online shop, but you can't order it until there's an next batch made.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'm gonna sidestep that question.
There we go. Nicely sidestepped.
I tell you what, it might be a good way though next time we get that shop open to kind of boost some sales. So I'm gonna say yes, anybody can buy it who wants to race in the kit. Help us meet the minimums.
Is it black or red?
It's black with like red piping around the arms and legs,
Okay.
and white writing on the chest.
Nice.
So we look very sort of chocolate box.
Okay, well, I hope it saves valuable seconds.
I'm
Minutes.
gonna need every
Minutes.
second I can get, I tell you.
Oh, Rob, how is training going?
It's ticking along.
That's what everyone's saying. Ticking along. I'm ticking the boxes.
It's going all right. I'm really enjoying it, and I haven't managed to get my 2 key long ride weekends that I had planned. I didn't manage to get them done. I was sick that weekend when the club were riding to Abersock,
Mm.
and something else came up on the weekend. I had another long ride planned, so tomorrow's the day. If I can get out for a long ride tomorrow, confidence comes back up. Swim's fine. Running's going great. Achilles is behaving himself at the
Yes,
minute, so
yes.
everything's good. Um, so yeah,
Oh, that's
watch this
nice.
space.
Watch this space. So everyone's ticking along and we're all getting it done and race season is very much underway and
I'm going to be the slowest man in a skin suit this season. I've got no business wearing it whatsoever.
oh god, all the gear, all the gear.
And of course, up in the Lake District, it'll be raining on race day anyway, so I'll have all this like aerodynamic stuff wrapped in a great big wind cheater to keep me warm.
Called a tracksuit from Australia.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, it's all good.
oh, Rob, there were loads of races going on this weekend of people who can
Yeah,
actually race rather than people who, just try, like you and I.
donkeys like you and me.
Yeah,
Let's talk about the non-donkeys,
yeah.
Hells.
So, so should we start at the one and only Ironman Lanzarote?
The one and only Ironman Lanzarote. I wish we'd been there watching this one because it sounds like it was a right battle down to the wire, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
both on the men's and the women's side.
So I think we should start talking with this one to book convention and show a little bit of solidarity and start with the ladies. We should book the sexist trend of going with men first because there was some serious British interest in the women's pro race with rookie Lucy Charles, who we've had on the show back in the day. We should go and check that episode out if you haven't heard that one because she's a talent for the future. We said back then, and
Talent for now.
she's a talent for now. And now we said last week, do you remember? We don't want to put too much pressure on her. I hope she doesn't feel too much pressure to go out and prove anything. But like being a super duper borderline Olympic swimmer, she only went and swam with the men's lead pro group, didn't she?
Yep, she did 47:11, which was just 18 seconds slower than Jan Frodeno.
So, and she also broke the ladies' course swim
Yeah,
record. So, if anyone's not heard of Lucy Charles, how old is she now? She's 22?
I think, yep, early
Just turned
20s.
22.
Yep,
So she's very young neo pro. She was a borderline Olympic open water swimmer.
that's right. Just missed out on getting qualification for London 2012.
And obviously she's got the swim pedigree. But what she proved in this race was that her bike pedigree has come on massively as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She led for all of it basically. She maintained that lead. She had a 7-minute lead out the swim, and then maintained that throughout the ride. And then I think just got overtaken like at the very, very start of the run.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think she has worked her butt off in to bring her bike and her run up to, up to sort of to the standard that you need to be in the mix in the pro field.
Well, she was a very good runner at Bolton, wasn't she? It was obvious we were watching her run, and
Yeah.
she can really, really run. And it was like the bike was if anything was a weakness for her, the bike was it. And like saying that, she was the fastest age grouper and everything, so she's clearly very talented. But I think she got caught by Tondeur just at the end of the bike ride, so she led the whole way into T2,
Mm.
which will be a massive confidence boost for her, won't it, to get off the bike either in first or second and neck. So that's really good. She had 14 minutes on Tondeur, I believe, coming out the water,
Mm.
or Tina Holst, and
I
then
think it was Tina Holst,
Holst,
wasn't it?
yeah, Tina Holst just caught her at T2. So that amazing swim of hers, it just goes to show, doesn't it? You totally can make a massive difference to your race by being a great swimmer.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, really, really impressive. And I think what was really brilliant in the race was that so Tina Holst had sort of overtaken her, so she dropped back into second. And then I think last year's winner, Diana Riesler of Germany, caught her as well, but basically she fended her off. So um, she stayed in a podium position. So she could have
Yeah,
easily dropped down into fourth because I think by that point Tonda must have sort of come past. Yeah,
Mm.
but Lucy Charles held on, so that is brilliant.
Good stuff, yeah. 3:27 marathon is really solid in Lanzarote. Fastest ladies marathon of the day was 3:10. So, hats off to her. Well done, Lucy. First pro race on the podium. Absolutely brilliant. She paid for a trip. She's got a bit of money in the bank. We should try and get her back on and have a chat about it, actually, shouldn't
Yeah,
we?
you should do.
That'd be good.
Yeah,
She's done well. See if we can get in contact with her for next
follow
week.
up with her again, and then
She might not be back in the country actually yet after probably lying on the beach somewhere absolutely goosed.
So Tina Holst took the win of Denmark in 10:02. Alexandra Tondeur of Belgium, her run got her on the podium 10:04. Lucy Charles third, 10:10. Diana Riesler, the defending champion, 10:24. And then Caroline Livesey, last year got on the podium. This year was fifth in 10:28.
Good stuff. Good. Now over in the men's race, this was always going to be shaping up to be a top race because it was Frodeno's return to competition, wasn't it?
Yeah, after
And then they
his
had the
injury.
yeah, what was it he did? Do you remember?
I think it was, I want to say Achilles, it was something like that.
Yeah, all feeling the pain. And the dark horse who we mentioned because fan of the show, and we're still trying to line up an interview with him. Jesse Thomas, who we met after Ironman Wales, who was such a nice guy. I kind of had like real hopes for him in this race and was thinking, well, he's built like me, he's a super skinny dude, and the hilly bike course was really going to suit him. Obviously, Wales really suited him. And he's a tremendous all-round athlete. And now I was following along a little bit online, and what I didn't realize, something I picked up from the Who's It's website, Torsten's website, apparently Frodeno really struggled getting his helmet on.
Yeah, he in T1, he basically dropped 2 minutes because he had a problem with his helmet.
And that was a 2 minute. Yeah. So we'll spoil the finish really. Jesse Thomas ends up winning it with a 2:46 marathon, which, at 3 minutes better than Jan Frodeno. That's a serious run pedigree, isn't
That's
it?
amazing, isn't it? Especially after such a, tough bike course as well. Yeah, amazing.
So ran his way through. And I think now, I mean, imagine that you've won your first Ironman at Ironman Wales off no specific preparation. You've won your second Ironman at Lanzarote. Quality pro field there. You've got obviously, Frodeno's a superstar of the sport. It's got to do tons for your confidence, hasn't it, going into Kona?
Yeah, for sure. I saw something from Matt Dixon, his coach, because he's purple patch, and Matt Dixon said something like, this is not a freak result or anything like that. This isn't like America's New Hope. Like he is basically,
He's
he's
the real
basically,
deal.
yeah, he's the real deal, and he has been the real deal for ages.
I don't think Jesse Thomas has been given the recognition he deserves because, like 6 back-to-back wins at Wildflower. Wildflower is one of the biggest, oldest, most prestigious triathlons in America, and it's kind of lost some of its shine in the fact that it isn't a branded race. But 6 victories there back-to-back, that was always a serious race, and it still is. So it's great to see Jesse Thomas getting that one, and I'm really looking forward to watching him race at Kona.
Yeah.
Because with his run pedigree, I think he could really throw something into the mix, and he's got to be looking at being the next American hope for a Kona victory, I think.
Watch this space.
Yeah.
Watch this space. We should mention then that David McNamee got third as well, 8:46. So it was such a close men's race, Rob. So Jesse Thomas 8:42, Jan Frodeno 8:44, and then McNamee 8:46. And I think he did a. Did he do a? Yeah, he did a 2:51 marathon.
Yeah, it's good going.
Yeah.
McNamee again's backed up there from his first. He's won UK last year. Then he had that fantastic result in Kona, and again a fantastic result with a third place and a serious race like this for him. I think that's going to do tons for his confidence as well. Because to put that in perspective, if you take Jesse Thomas out of the mix, McNamee's only a couple of minutes behind Frodeno, and in a run battle with him in a major Ironman like that. Again, solid result. So nice one, David McNamee.
So really, really brilliant results. And we should mention as well, Rachel Hallam was the fastest overall female age group athlete. She won the 30 to 34 category. She did 10:48.
Wow.
8th fastest female time of the day. So awesome.
Yeah, she must not have been far off. Well, she must have placed in amongst the pros there with that, mustn't she?
Eighth fastest female of the day.
Jolly good. You just said that, and
Yeah,
I clearly
it's all
wasn't
right.
listening.
Don't worry. I repeat it. I can tell you again if you want. So yeah,
It's usually pretty good for me to get it within the first two times held.
Rachel Hallam was the eighth fastest female of the day at Lanzarote, Rob. Yeah.
Oh, it's just like having a second wife. This is lovely. You give me a kick in for something later on. Right, come on, let's go somewhere else. Let's go to Ironman 70.3 Barcelona.
Let's do that indeed. So, yeah, this one again was really brilliant for GB in that Emma Pallant got second in 4:41. So, what she got? Did she get third at Mallorca recently in the peeing rain?
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely fantastic. So in the women's race, it was won by Emma Billam of Switzerland in 4:38. She's an awesome athlete. I met her at the 70.3 World Championships last year, but she had a really like a pants race there, as in not what she was hoping for. But
she still got 10th, didn't she, at the Worlds?
Did I? So, I was thinking wrong person then. I did meet her. Sorry, Emma. I was thinking someone else.
Well, maybe she was just disappointed with 10th place. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, but anyway, what I'm trying to say is she is an awesome athlete.
And a nice person to boot.
Correct. Really, really nice. So 4:38, Emma Pallant second in 4:41, and Bianca Sturer of Austria third in 4:49. Nikki Bartlett was fifth in 4:54.
Top stuff. And Emma Pallant ran 1:20.
Awesome.
So
brilliant.
Fastest half marathon, and ran away past 3 people to get into second. It was really good going, hey?
Oh, that's really cool, isn't it?
Yeah, quality
and
athlete.
She's always going to have that run as her weapon.
Yeah, I think her swim's slowly improving as well.
Yeah.
She's chipping away at it. So she was about a minute behind Emma Billam out of the water. So
that's massive improvements.
Massive improvements. Well done, Emma Pallant.
Yep, well done.
Good stuff. Right, men's race was taken out by Patrick Nielsen of Sweden, 4:04. Maurice Clavel of Germany in 4:05, and Sylvain Soudry in 4:11. Richie Nichols was in 8th, and I think
Stuart Hayes 16th.
Stewie Hayes was in there, wasn't he?
Yeah, 16th. Stuart Hayes got.
It's one of those super deep men's pro fields where there was 20 seconds between each of the pro men, so it looks like it was a super competitive race. I know he was out right near the front of the swim. And Fraser Cartmel was in there as well somewhere.
31st, Fraser Cartmel. Yeah. So, yeah, and Mark Threlfall, DNF.
Oh, what a shame.
So, yeah, there we go. That was 70.3 Barcelona. Rob, a little closer. Should we do St. Polten or Slateman?
Give us the results of St. Polten. We'll give it a readout and then we'll move on to Slateman.
Well, you see, you've picked the one that I don't have in front of me.
Well, that was smooth for me, wasn't it? Here you go. I've got it.
Yes.
I've got it right here. Any second. As soon as the internet picks it up. No, I haven't. We're going to skip past St. Polten.
Fine.
But I do know that in 4th place we had Susie Cheetham. She picked up 4th there, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. Correct.
Yeah.
So cool. Slateman is a race which is in Snowdonia in North Wales. It's sort of like one of those iconic races in the British calendar, I think, because it is not it's not standard distances, and the run is by no means a standard run because you have to run up a slate mine. The swim is in a usually pretty cold lake, but this year I know they managed to do the full swim. And
well, it was still pretty cold.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah, but
it was still about 12 degrees, wasn't it?
Correct.
But at least they managed to get the full 1,000 meters
exactly.
in this year.
It means that it wasn't quite as cold as in previous years when they've had to cut the swim. So they did the 1,000-meter swim, 51k on the bike, and then an 11k trail run.
Yeah, and most of that's uphill.
Yeah, correct. So, in the Gary Hughes took the win for the men in 2:29, just ahead of Paul Hawkins in 2:30, and James Hockin was third in 2:30.44, so 4 seconds difference there. Susie Richards, Rob, we've had her on the podcast.
We have indeed.
She is like the queen of Slateman. and she continued her reign. She won it for the third time in 2:43, 5 minutes clear of Ruth Purbrook in 2:48, and then third was Alison Stewart in 2:54. So what a great result for Susie, and really chuffed for her, because she said in the interview that she had a few, she's been struggling a little bit with injury this year. So that's great that she could come back and get the win.
She gets to keep the match ball.
Yeah, exactly.
3 wins in a row, keep the match ball. Well done, Susie. That's domination for her. That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? The Savage, when you do the sprint on the Saturday and the full on the Sunday.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, Ross McDonald took the win with that, with Ruth Purbrook, the first female Savage placing. So Ross won the sprint in 1:14. Grant Bateman was second. Paul Savage, you know him, don't you?
Yes, indeed.
Third. And then the women, Rhiannon Roxburgh was first, Ruth Purbrook second, and Sarah Vickers third.
Good stuff. Paul Savage, I'd heard he was having a bit of the old Achilles niggles recently as well. Well done, Paul. Anyone needs a good physiotherapist or bike fitter in North Manchester, Paul's your man. Go and see him. He's fixed more than a few of my athletes in the days.
Has he?
Oh, yeah. He's a good physio. He knows his stuff. If you've got a bike niggle, go and see Paul. Yeah, great. That's good, man. You've got to be completely bonkers to race the sprint on the Saturday and then do the full slate man on the Sunday. Your legs must be destroyed.
Oh, just the thought of going up the slate man for a second time must be, yeah.
Well, I don't think they do the full run up the quarry, do they, on the sprint? I think they go out and back through the woods, but they don't do that crazy up the switchbacks. I think they get denied that particular pleasure.
They do have to go up and down Llanberis Pass.
Llanberis Pass.
Yeah. So
yeah, good.
Fantastic.
All right, so listen, tell us about this week's interview, Hells.
Well, all being well, it is an interview about sleep, Rob.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Who are we interviewing?
We are interviewing Nick Littlehales, who is a sport sleep coach. And essentially it's, talking about sleep and the importance of recovery as well.
Tell you what, man, I could do with some more sleep at the minute. All right, let's go over now to the interview with Nick.
Nick Littlehales, welcome to the Cover Triathlon podcast.
It's my pleasure, Helen. Thank you very much for asking me. Sleep has sort of risen to our agenda now because the counterproductive side effects of poor sleep hygiene, and from taking it for granted, you can't do that anymore because we've moved to a different era, a different generation, and it's only going to get worse, but that means better to all of us. Do more, get more tech, get going, do it faster. So we're not slowing down. So we know that we've got to try and redefine this process. And I think that's why a sort of sports sleep coach, is more relevant today than it certainly was when I started. And it's more to do with the much higher levels of anxiety we see everywhere: stress, worry, weight control, obesity, type 2 diabetes. And in some cases, when I'm going in to work with a group or an organization, my job is to help them use more natural, everyday recovery processes and techniques that helps them get a better balance, that stops them overstimulating. Maybe that could be caffeine, because of its varied places you can find it. Or it just simply become addicted to certain types of things, not necessarily, harmful or drugs, but just getting addicted to pain management things or certain interventions through nutrition or protein, whatever it might be. And the other one is moving towards, maybe the odd occasion will, I don't prescribe it because I'm not a doctor and I never would. But when you are prescribed with, you're in such a particular dark place with sleep that you need to take some sleeping tablets, then they would be used in a very controlled and restrictive way just to resync and reset. But what we see is they get prescribed too easily and too readily to help with those moments when, particularly in sport, but it's in life anyway, where all the key factors about entering sleep in a natural way are completely against you. So it's almost like why even try? And so I think what we look at today is how can you look at an individual's routine and their schedules over short and long periods of time, and we find a way that they can go through that period, maximizing mental and physical recovery, but doing it in a manner that gives them confidence about it. And that could easily mean, before an event, not actually sleeping at all, because it's counterproductive. Okay. Trying to sleep and worrying about not being able to sleep is just nonsense. So that's why we're talking today, and that's there's a lot more people in the area today providing a lot more research, continuing to prove the importance of it. The job that I have is to try and translate that into what people can do about it.
So going back to the basics, why is sleep so important?
When you talk about sleep, it's virtually a paralyzed state. Mm-hmm. And everybody knows as kids, when you're in a deep sleep stage, which is the one we hunt for, ever as soon as we leave our early teens, we hunt for it because it rarely happens. And those deep sleep is when I can be bashing my kids on the heads and they're not waking up because they're right down in that paralysis. So you imagine being in that stage, all your organs are literally just happily sitting there. All your joints and muscles are just happily repairing themselves. Your brain has got this opportunity. What a wonderful organ it is, but it needs time to just put everything in the right place, switch things down, shift certain hormones from doing this to doing that, and get. So this is why you get out of sync with that process, and you push all of that process around. Like, unfortunately, certain people do have to work shifts, so they take that chance. Is that it does affect everything, and whereas we've looked at it and gone, well, okay, I didn't sleep really well last night, and I'm still going to work. I'm still going to the gym, still meeting my friends, and I've still got to do the business accounts. I really slept well last night, so I'm going to do the accounts even faster. I'm going to do even more hours at work. I'm going to see more friends. You know what I mean? We don't do this. We just get up, and however well or badly we've recovered, we do our day. So once you start, because now we can, I've always believed this, but now we can actually see it.
Yeah.
So alertness, reaction times, decision making, memory retention, anger management, relationships, are some mood and motivation. All of those factors come into play if you're not approaching sleep in that way and looking at it like that, as when your body wants to do things and why it wants to do things. And the other aspect is you can also see that cardiovascular, you can raise your performance cardiovascularly, you can raise stamina, you can raise other things in those areas of more physical performance by getting this right. Mm. So, but in principle, I think for everybody listening, if you adopt, sleep hygiene is confusing in itself, Ellen.
Yes, yeah.
Have I got to wash my hands, whatever it is. Is that if you just redefine your approach to this subject, you start to see the personal benefits to yourself, the personal performance factors. As those personal performance factors sort of shuffle their way into your life, then other performance factors come out. And that's where we get the marginal gains with athletes. In daily life, it's almost like I would describe it to most as you think you're at your peak. You think you are at your personal best. You think you are achieving what you can achieve. But actually, you are a good few meters behind the real you. This is a shadow of where you might have been at another point in your life, or you've never actually experienced it. Because if you've never approached sleep and recovery in a manner, it's always, I try and get 8 hours a night. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. How many times did you wake up last night to have a wee? 2 or 3 times. Well, you didn't get 8 hours. You got 3 and then a wee. Then you got another 2 and had a wee. And that means probably 25% deep sleep available to you that night. You got none of it.
So how important is this 8 hours? I mean, you often see, oh, you should try to get 8 hours of sleep a night. Is it a myth? Is it that, you just mentioned there, lots of people do get up in the middle of the night to go to the loo?
It's not a myth. You basically go back to this circadian rhythm clock and say within that period you've got these 2 points of sun up, sundown. Within that nocturnal period, you have got the circadian rhythms not only unsuppressed and suppressed bowel movements, they create the highest blood pressure during the day, which is normally mid-afternoon or evening. But it also means that as human beings, we can grab the deepest sleep is normally around 2 or 3 in the morning, okay, in the nocturnal period. That's when, if we sort of get to that point well enough, then we've got a great opportunity to go and wallow in that deep sleep stuff, right? So if you keep an eye on that and you say, yes, it's important for us to recover at night because there's lots of trigger factors. There's a graph that shows you that between urge and need sleep, Helen. And basically, as the sun comes up around this sort of, let's say, 6 o'clock in the morning, season dependent, around that 6 o'clock point, once that starts, there is a gradual, like a sort of ski slope, a gradual increase every hour, no dips, right to around 11 or 12 o'clock when it peaks, right?
Yeah.
There are clash points midday between 1 and 3, the graveyard slot, the siesta in Spain is another natural sleep period. Totally natural, because we have that slump. So it's so easy to take a nap, if you want to call it, or take recovery there. That's a great time. There's another little point where the sleep slope has got so high now, because we're moving towards that between 5 and 7, it can happen again. So we can have this little drop, and dead easy to fall into sleep. That's the third natural sleep period. So what you do is you've got 3 natural sleep periods. There's only one monophasic, which is 1 block at night, in all of our history as human beings, that has only ever been used, and principally we kind of identify with when we invented the light bulb, right?
Yeah.
Is we were able to try and just sleep at night. Every other, there's 5, the other 4 are all polyphasic. That means you sleep in bits, not chunks.
Okay.
So what you do is you adopt a polyphasic approach. So you will have cycles at night, a cycle during the day, or maybe 2 during the day, and this is where this napping comes in. So rather than it's 8 hours at night, Helen, it's more about 8 hours a day.
Okay, so you can divide your sleep up.
Yeah. And when you get, if you just tap in and go, famous people who don't sleep too much, and you're CEOs of Google, all over the place.
Yeah. Maggie Thatcher was famous for it, right?
Oh, yeah. But, there's so many people. I work in sport with lots of coaches and everything else, and they sleep shorter cycles at night, and they don't say to everybody, I'm going for a nap. They don't, nobody knows what they're doing, but they don't do anything between 2 and 3. They're just going back to the room to get some stuff. They're just, going for some lunch. They're just going for a swim, whatever it is. They just go away and they'll find some time to maybe take a 30 or 90-minute nap. And even early evening, if it's an evening game, a late night event, then they'll grab it when it's time's right. So it's kind of like if you're trying to nap, take a 30-minute at 11 o'clock in the day, 11 o'clock in the morning. There's nothing helping you to do that.
There's no natural thing.
No,
it's not. Yeah.
So the 8 hours thing, there's basically my sort of R90 technique that I use is by up the 7 key sleep recovery indicators. the 7 little areas that you just look into, checkbox them, and if you can make a little step, 7 little steps in those 7 little areas, you'll start to aggregate up to having some real positive steps before your recovery. Throw sleep to one side. It's a word that describes taking it for granted, sleeping anywhere on anything in any way at any time. It has no performance criteria attached to it. You don't really want to do it, but you have to because you've got to wake up. So there is one particular period that sort of dominates how you measure sleep. It's all about a series of stages, which I think everybody will be aware of. And these stages of sleep will sort of occur during a 90-minute cycle period.
Yep.
It doesn't tend to happen shorter. That's why we have a sort of controlled 30-minute nap. The 26 minutes for a long-haul pilot is it doesn't happen that easily but within 90 minutes, people can wander through deep sleep, REM sleep, non-REM sleep, light sleep stages. And to get a sort of balance of all of those takes about 90 minutes. So if you just look at sleep in 90-minute cycles rather than hours, I will give you mine very quickly, which is pretty common to everybody, okay?
Yep.
Is the one thing that this circadian clock loves, because it's sun up, starts the day, is a constant wake time. We've all got one. Sometimes we just choose to ignore it, right? What it loves is just, come on, you've got 2 genetic chronotypes. That basically is your owl and your lark from old school days. The AM or PMer. And that means I am an AM chronotype. It's genetic. I can camouflage it. I can hide it with stimulants. I can hide it with my occupation and everything else. But it's going on inside of me, and it's not allowing me to PB, okay?
Yep.
So I can say I have to go to work, be there at 9. I've got an hour's traveling to do to get there. So I'd like to get up at 6:30.
Yeah.
Over the last couple of years looking at it, 6:30 allows me to get everywhere and do anything I've been asked to do. Every now and again, there might be an early flight. Yeah, but I picked 6:30.
Yeah.
So that's my constant wake time. And now this circadian process and my human body loves that. Loves it. Best thing you can do. So I will then work on a 5-cycle 90-minute routine, because 5 90-minute cycles is 7.5 hours. There's your 8 hours. Okay?
Yep.
Now it starts to make sense to some young athletes. Yeah?
Yep.
And they're not talking to some sleep expert. They're talking to somebody who might break this up into something that makes some sense. Oh, you're on a 5-cycle routine. Yeah. If you wander back from 6:30 in 5 slots, you get 5 a.m.
Yes.
You get 3:30. You get 2 a.m., 12:30, 11 o'clock.
Yep.
11 o'clock, one of the best times to try and go to sleep, because we're at that peak. Because once you ride past 11 o'clock, on that graph I was telling you about urge and need, it gradually increases.
Yep.
It just comes very significantly sharper down into wake. So as you move over there and get closer to 2 o'clock, when you're going to miss that deep sleep opportunity, and you start to go close to that, you're actually in a process of wake, not sleep.
Yep.
So head might hit the pillow, you might fall straight into a deep sleep because you're completely knackered. But your brain and that circadian process is wandering towards wake. So be very careful. So what happens is I will plan for 35 cycles in 7 days.
Okay. Yep.
I would ideally like 35 cycles every night between 11 and 6:30.
Yep.
I want to add a pre and post sleep routine to this because they've never been more important to deal with things. So the 90 minutes before 11, from around 9:30, not in some weird routine structured way, but I will move from light to dark.
Okay.
I will move from warm to cool because that's the nice process. I will meditate. I will do progressive stretching. I will do light exercise, bit of yoga. I will try not to put a 3-hour film on. I will try to sort of go, hey, tech down.
Yeah,
Let's
switch
just
that phone off.
let's tech it down. I will declutter, whether that's untidy declutter. Oh, I leave all my clothes on the bottom on the floor by the bed. They're still there. They're where they're supposed to be. I'm fine with that. Or if it's very anal like me, they'll all have to be up in the wardrobe. So just a bit of personal space decluttering can have a massive effect on how well you get into deep sleep.
What
So
about
you have
mental space decluttering as well?
yeah, you can, there's some old school things which work really well, because this is a polyphasic approach. We're not making this up. This is what we used to do. We just developed a light bulb, to say, and we've changed it. So you just got certain things. Some tech around is good. Maybe it's mind space hacking. Maybe it's noise, binaural beats, things you can get onto devices that will actually help you sort of get the right positive mindset away from worry, stress, and things like that. But even just I've got my schedule on my pad, on my phone, in a cloud, everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everything I need to do tomorrow is all there, right? So even if I'm just part of the pre-sleep routine, I don't want to try and sleep at 11 o'clock. Be asleep in a lovely sleep state, flow through 5 90-minute cycles, wake up at 6:30 and go. I don't want anything disturbing me whatsoever. Partner's legs, overheating, thoughts, needing to go for a wee. I don't want to be still digesting great loads of food because my body will just overheat. My brain's still alert doing it, and I might even have to wake up to my bowels in some cases, So, right. But I don't want to be sitting there going, oh, I'm starving, I'm hungry. Right? So you make sure that you don't overhydrate.
Yeah.
Right? Anybody who's got a good diet, I remember the time when everybody drank water out of a tap. I remember the time when we all drank water from bottles. Yeah. I remember the time I was told to drink 2 liters a day. In sport, not everywhere, but because we've got a much better dietary control and nutritional plan, and you're getting more of that fresh food and fruit into your life, you need to know how much water's in some of these stuff, because you can overhydrate. And one of those things, when you talk about sleep, Helen,
yeah,
once you fall into a sleep state and you've committed to it, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Right? It's what you do from when you wake that will determine how well you'll sleep when you ever want to sleep.
So during the day, basically, during the day, yeah.
So I don't, eating too late. Maybe your listeners have heard that. Well, you can only eat too late if you don't know what time you're going to sleep.
Yeah. Now, see, that's an interesting one because last night I probably didn't eat until, I don't know, 9:15.
Yeah.
Knowing that was, it might have been 8:30, knowing that was pretty late, knowing that I had to be in bed because I had to get up at like 10 to 4 this morning. So I knew this is bad, I'm eating. And so surely you should try to avoid eating a lot straight before bed. But this is when it's difficult.
This is when it's difficult, isn't it? So I set off day 1 of 7. And if there was nothing in the way, I'd start pre-sleep about 9:30. I'd curl up in bed, fall asleep for around 11.
Yeah.
Wander all the way through my 5 cycles, wake up and go again. Look at my 7-day schedule, no chance. We can't get 8 hours every night. We might do some catch-ups, trying to sleep early or sleeping later. We have a constant wait time for most of the days, but not all the days, because we'll bypass it. Do we actually know what time we're going to sleep tonight? It really just gets a bit of a worrying pressure as we start to get closer to the point where we've got to get up, which is what you've just said. So immediately what happens is I just look at a 7-day cycle with an athlete like yourself, right? You look at that schedule, you've got the whole schedule for the season, right? And you can just look at everything that's happening. You can cut it down into chunks and periods, quarters, months, whatever it might be. And then you get this 7-day flow. And across those 7 days, what we'll look at is, can we get 35 cycles from those 7 days?
Yeah.
On certain nights, we've got events we've got recovery days, we've got training times, we've got school, birthday parties, social engagements, you name it, and sponsorship days. So across that, we'll go, right, day 1, you can get 5 between 11 and 6:30. Day 2, you can get 11 until 6:30. Okay?
Yeah.
Starts at 9:30, finishes 6:30. Right. Day 3. Now, really, I'm not going to be able to get sleep to 12:30, which is my next slot along, Helen, isn't it?
Okay.
Keeping in harmony. I'm not sleeping in 90-minute chunks, waking up and then doing it again. It's just trying to have some harmony to what you're doing with this circadian process, trying to allow the brain to work in this way, because it would love it if it could do it naturally. So I just go 12. So that's 4 cycles there. On day 4, there is an opportunity to grab a 30 or 90-minute cycle. Those are the 2 I work with because they're common. Between 1 and 3. Because we were just recovery training in the morning, and then I've got that period of time before I might do some training. So I'll take it there. So now it was a 30-minute cycle, but I still class it as a cycle. Or it was a 90-minute cycle, then it's a full cycle. So there's my 5. But it happened 4 there. The following day, it's going to do it again. So 4 cycles at night.
Yeah.
Maybe 1 in the evening between 5 and 7, right? Maybe not 90 minutes, because 90 minutes is okay, probably midday, or 30 minutes. But the one between 5 and 7, probably more than 30 minutes. But you can get a 90, depending. Right? So there's my 5. On the 5th day, back to 5.
Yep.
Yeah. So what you do is if I'm working with a coach, your coach, let's say, I work with a coach, and we use this sort of R90 technique, the 7 things. We look at cycles run hours. We look at pre and post sleep routines. We look at everything that's going on. We go, right, Helen has got 35 cycles she can get out of that week.
Yeah.
Now we'll go and train Helen, and then it's up to Helen to get them.
Yep.
Because a number of those cycles are going to be down to her when she takes them or not, right?
Yeah.
We can't force her to do it. We just say,
like the one between 5 and 7, for example.
Yeah. We can say, look, Helen, you can do 1 there, back it up. I wouldn't put too much pressure on that one, yeah? Now, so you can look at it like that. And say we get a schedule and it goes, whoa, that's only 30 cycles.
Yeah.
She could only ever get 30 cycles that week because it's a pressurized week. So I'm happy with that. Because that averages out about 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
That's all right. She probably gets that anyway sometimes. So let's take the pressure off and say we're happy with that. So we're going down to 30 cycles. You can also identify then certain periods where, whoa, we're down at 26, 27.
Yeah.
Now this is too low, right? We're pushing it too far. Can we make some adjustments? The other thing, Helen, is not worrying about this.
I was going to see that's a key thing, because do you think a lot of people almost worry too much about, I'm tired, or I can't get that sleep in, and it just becomes a worry?
Helen, you were just worrying about it a minute ago, weren't you? About what happens if I eat too late. The thing is, in every day, whether it's sport or not, you cannot control what's coming towards you, right?
Yeah.
You can have a great way at it, but if friends let you down for meals or that, or friends change timings, or planes get delayed, or floodlights go out, or whatever it might be, is you have to be able to react to that day. Some of these things can affect you negatively. Oh dear, I can't do that, or this has happened, I can't do that. Some of them can be quite positive, because I met Helen today. I was going to do a 5-cycle routine tonight. No problem. But I met Helen. The sun's shining. She said, why don't we go out and talk sport? I went, that's brilliant. Love to live life. Absolutely every minute of the day. I don't want to cut it short. I'm only here once. Let's go and do it. As soon as you ask me, as soon as we try to grab the moments, whether it's positive or negative, I just go, it's 12:30 tonight.
Yeah.
It's 4 cycles. I'm absolutely fine with 4 cycles. I love 4 cycles. In fact, I had a period of time when I was on just 3 cycles for 2 weeks, and I didn't notice a damn difference.
Because it was in those cycles, and that is the
Well,
key
it was
thing.
6 hours.
Yeah.
It was 6 hours a night, 3
Yeah.
cycles.
Yeah.
I felt great. So I'm not worried about that. I'm also not worried if I don't get any sleep at all, because I've learned over the years, even Sir Steve Redgrave wouldn't even try and sleep before in a final.
That's what I wanted to ask you, right? Because say if you're doing an Ironman, okay, they start at 6 a.m. Or 7 o'clock in the morning. So if you're going to eat 2.5 hours before, it's a really early alarm. So you spend a lot of that night before worrying that you're not going to get up because you're not used to getting up at sort of half 3, 4 in the morning. But is that so? Go on. What should we do before a race?
I wouldn't do it. I think once it's not just you just can't sort of start it tomorrow, Helen, right? Because you just can't put some new trainers on and expect them to feel great in the first few, right? So don't expose yourself to these things. But if you think about what we've just been talking about and you start to put it in, get a constant wait time, start to think in cycles, 90-minute cycles and hours. Know that you've got a more polyphasic approach. You start to do that. You think breaks every 90 minutes. Eat at regular times, even if it's more regular times, but don't sort of gorge and things like that. Get your diet right, get your exercise levels right, get it all in a bit of a balance, and stop worrying about your recovery, get it under control. So I can look at every week and I think, right, that's fine. As it pans out, it might move from a 35-cycle week to a 30-cycle week, but that doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. It might mean that as we're out, Helen, and you decide, oh, it's been a hard week, Nick, and I've been training so hard, I want to treat myself to a glass of Bordeaux. Really, let's be naughty. And you know that dessert that's on that table, I really shouldn't, because if that goes into me, it's now nearly 9:30, I've got to be and I just go, let's do it, right? Because I'm now thinking 2 o'clock, right? So when I get home from being with you, the one thing I want to do now is to make sure I don't just brush my teeth and jump into bed, right? If it's 11:05, I wait till 12:30. If it's 12:15, 12 o'clock, I wait till 2. Because when I get back into the home, I want to allow my body to do what it wants to do, right? I want to come down from the day. I want to get rid of all these things we've been talking about, negatively or positively. I may even want to make some notes. Because there's been a lot going on. So I just may even want to send an email or something. You know what I mean? I want to be able to relax and shift from light to dark. I want to get into the right frame of mind. I might want to brush my teeth a little bit earlier than before I get into bed. So it's not, because brushing your teeth is a wake process as well as a sleep process. And most people will do it in front of a bathroom light. So they worry about their laptops. Worry about your bathroom lights and its blue lights. You know what I mean? Do it with the candles better. And I'll get into bed. I was supposed to be in bed at 11 today, Helen, but now it's 2 a.m. I'm curled up in bed. I've had a pre-sleep routine in front of that, not just jumped in. My brain and everybody's happy with all of this process. I'm going to roll through 3 cycles, wake up at 6:30, absolutely happy with that. Sometimes I'll feel absolutely crap. Sometimes I won't. But get over it. That happens anyway. Yeah. And I'll get up at 6:30. But even before we've finished our meal, I'm just thinking, well, tomorrow I'm in the office. I'm not doing Helen's podcast till 4 o'clock. So I can have a nap between 1 and 3. So I'm cool. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even as these things unfold in front of you, you can grab the positive and negative influence that come in front of it you couldn't control. You can grab them and just chuck them away with total confidence. And so as you get to that point, what happens is when you're taking an athlete, which is your question, and you're going to this particular point, maybe you've got 2 days there, and you've got 3 nights, right?
Yeah.
And what you've done is as we've wandered towards that period, we've used the opportunity to shift you around, and you've done it as well, of moving from 5 to 4 to 3, bouts of 2, in a sleep-restricted process. That's what you do in a clinic, restrict it. So all the time you've got the opportunity to reset yourself, because you just go 3:30 into 6:30 if you're getting a bit of an insomniacal tendency going on. You just do it yourself. right?
Yeah.
Simple,
Yeah.
isn't it? See how much more confident you are, and you can play. And so what happens is, as we move towards that, and training either goes up or down, you're trying to moderate that, and you get closer and closer. We just go, let's go for 5 cycles that night, okay?
Yeah.
Because you're confident. You're confident about these 5 cycles. You've done them before. You know how it works. We know what we do here. And what you're confident about is you're not worrying about what's going to happen over the next 2 nights.
Yep.
So you'll do it well and go,
Yep.
oh, can't wait. Fresh linen on the bed, I'm off, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you wake up that day, you do that sort of that whole, and then you don't even try and sleep the night before the event, because during the course of that following day, you can put in another nap.
Yeah.
You can put in another. It's much better to think of a mental and physical recovery period. Let's get 21st century. This is not sleeping.
Yeah.
This is mental and physical recovery, and you want to put 5 of those cycles in that night. Then the following 24 hours, you're going to do it midday that day, or early evening. Then you're not going to sleep that night at all, that following night, because you've got to be up at, what was it, 6 o'clock?
Like 4 in the morning, 3:30.
4 in the morning. So which wake time would you pick for me doing that?
I would go with
2,
I'd
3:30.
I was going to go 3:30.
Go 3:30. Brilliant. See, so you want to give yourself time, in that 90-minute post-sleep at least, to sort of come out of a sleep state. But hang on a minute. What's the point? You could use, if you can grab something during the run-up to it, during midday and evening, then when you get, so now you're shifting what you're doing. So don't be around people who are all going to bed at 10 o'clock. That'll just mess you. So you can actually plan certain things in. You're going to eat at 10 or 11 o'clock, right? So maybe you put something in so you don't feel hungry along that route. Shift around a little bit.
Yeah.
Because that circadian process is there as well, isn't it? You'll get towards that particular time, and you can say, well, maybe if I can do some physical positive recovery things, that's good, because I would do those anyway. Progressive stretching, meditation, yoga, certain things. I can also do some positive mind recovery things, right?
Yeah.
So I had one athlete, very, very Olympic gold medal, wonderful, got a lot in his bag.
Yeah.
Everybody else is trying to sleep and not, wandering around like a caged animal, falling into little naps, waking up. So mind recovery things, you could do mind hacks with tech, you could do also things, but watching his best moments.
Okay. Yeah.
What's his best moments? It's like, whoa, I was good. You remember the pressure before that?
Psychologically preparing yourself.
Yeah.
For the following day, for your big race.
And using the adrenaline that's building up in a positive manner, not to go out sort of heavily exercising, but it's sort of use it in a positive way. I'm ready for this.
Yeah.
That's how good I was. So there's all that sort of sports psychology bits about it. And it is recovery, because trying to sleep and still worrying about whether you're going to achieve what you want tomorrow, you might as well be using all of that adrenaline and and worry and anxiety to focus it on, I'm here, I'm going to knock this one out, right? I'm going to be positive. So let's do that. Let's hydrate. Let's keep fueled up. Let's make sure the bowel and bladder are open. Let's, maybe I'll just, listen to some of my favorite chill out music, or it's something that you've created. I mean, I've got, I do stupid things, Helen, but it sounds a bit bizarre. But actually, we just, got one of them to do what they normally do, is read bedtime stories to the 2 young kids, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So I said, record it on your device. Why? I said, well, you can listen to that. Yeah. And that will give you this lovely mindset of what's really important. What's really important. You can hear them breathing. You can hear them making little comments. It's not going to be negative. It'll just give you. It's a lovely recovery hour, maybe, or even might help you get to sleep.
Yeah.
You know, if you were lying on the bed, just listening to that, oh, and suddenly you realise you were asleep for a couple of cycles. You know what I mean? And so sometimes when you start to look at it, because I've got those timings, haven't I? You immediately go, I think that could be easily 3:30. You know, to do that, to get there, to get up, fuel, hydrate, you know, don't rush into it. Don't bother. What are you going to do? Go to bed at 8 o'clock to try and catch up? It's not going to. So, you know, there'll be some people listening who go, you know, I love sleep and I sleep a lot. And I've heard this all my life, right?
Yeah.
I liked it from boxers who like to get 10 or 12 hours a day, all this sort of stuff. And I couldn't last on. I think if you put this structure in, what you're able to do is find out exactly what you need and
what works for you.
And what works for you. Because if you're one of these people at the end of the scale, where they can literally, you know, do 3 cycles, 2 cycles, 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
A lot of people do it. So if you found that, then what you're basically doing is wasting a hell of a lot of valuable lifetime doing nothing without benefits.
Yeah.
So don't waste valuable time doing this. But you might find out you need 6 cycles, a 9-hour period. It could be something unique to your sport. It could be unique to you and your metabolism, your makeup. You can use this process to really fine tune what you're doing. And then if you do anything else, so you would just stick in the browser circadian rhythms, just research that for a bit. Yeah. Find something that is understandable to you and just look at it and realize you're a human being, not Helen. Okay? This is your body, your brain, right?
Yeah.
Next one is if you don't know what your chronotype, then if you tap in, test your chronotype, you'll probably come up with Munich University. Yeah. You'll be able to do a little questionnaire and it'll tell you what your chronotype is. But basically, you'll know it.
Yeah.
You'll know it. It's in there. Know that and make sure that whatever you're doing, if it's something that's not in your control, then learn how to minimize the effects of doing something when your chronotype is not at its best.
Yeah.
Every opportunity you've got, avoid having things that impact on you when you know your chronotype is fighting you. And also take advantage of when it isn't. So being a morning chronotype, I'll do all my business accounts, you know, in the morning.
Yeah.
Everything will add up. I won't check a single figure, right? If I do it in the afternoon, I'm starting to question whether 1 and 1 is 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just doesn't look right. I don't trust the number at the end. I keep looking. So all of these little factors will remember. Think in cycles rather than hours, because don't waste valuable time doing this without benefits. It's not about quality and quantity. You do have to have this sort of recovery period in any 24-hour, but let's not just be random. I try to get 8 hours and I sleep okay, and sometimes I don't, because that's just not an approach.
Yeah.
Forget sleep. That's just something. Think of mental and physical recovery periods.
Yeah.
Think of pre and post sleep routines. The other part of those 7 is getting a better balance between activity and recovery. You've actually got more recovery hours than you've got active hours. So what you need to do is, if you're really out of sync with this, then that's going to really not help you, really be an obstacle to getting proper recovery. You need to be really careful about that. So really have a better balance of that. The last 2 is just your environment and the products you use to sleep on. There's so many restrictions on the homes we choose, the size of the rooms and all sorts of stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So let's just put that to one side. They're all barriers. So what we need to do is whatever we put into this sleeping room, sometimes called a bedroom, it's my mental and physical recovery room, isn't it?
Yeah.
Change its title. We've already got negatives. It's facing the wrong direction. The sun's going to come up and warm us up. It's not big enough to get the right stuff in it. It's like that, it's like that, like that. It's in a city, so it's noisy. So we got all these. So whatever we put in this room has got to be to help us mentally and physically recover. If it's not doing that, why are we putting it in? If you just do that, then you'll realise that probably, you know, all the tech, all the TVs, stimulating colours, stimulating pictures, you'll realise that there's quite a lot of things that are actually not ticking boxes for you to mentally and physically recover right. So even if you love your sleeping partner to bits, when you go into a sleep state, you will turn away from each other and create your own sleeping space. And you will not want to be near them again until morning. So you need that space. Otherwise, overheating, partner disturbance is just going to be maximized. So it's all these little factors. And the one area is, as in sport, we do know that there is certain equipment, nutritional plans and everything else, but there's certain equipment that can make a difference. I've got one mattress that ticks every single box that you want it to do. It's just to help that process work. So what a 14-year-old part lottery funded, if they're lucky, young aspiring athlete would purchase with me would be exactly the same thing as a top Premiership footballer.
So Nick, if people want more information about everything that we've discussed and also the products that you sell as well, where should they go?
The website and place to go is sportsleepcoach.com. Anybody who doesn't want to sort of redefine their approach to sleep, let's hope if they listen to your podcast today, they might change their mind.
Right, cool little interview there, and I think we all know the importance of recovery and sleep, don't we, Hals? Let's move on to Coach's Couch this week.
Yeah.
Who was our question from? Was it Ashley Stewart?
Yeah, that's right. So Ashley Stewart got in touch with us on Twitter. We're at Cup of Tri. And Ashley says, how do I get my half marathon time down while also still doing 3 bikes and 3 swims a week?
Oh, I tell you what, it's the difficult question, that one of trying to serve more than 2 masters. I think my best advice on this one is going to be that you've got to decide what's more important to you. You've got to decide that you're either a triathlete for the season who's going to run a half marathon as part of the training, or that you're training for a half marathon and you're going to try and keep your biking and your swimming ticking over at the same time. So one thing I would say is it's not unusual, and people who come from a running background in particular tend to think they're used to running 6 times a week in general, and they think that their running is going to lose something when they cut out 3 runs a week in order to be able to swim and bike as well. It's not unusual for them to actually not lose anything, but in fact get better when they replace 3 of those sort of steady aerobic runs with bike workouts instead, because the heart and lungs are still getting that great workout, the muscles are still getting that great workout, and their ligaments and tendons are kept strong and in shape by the 3 runs a week they're going. So my best advice on this one is, I think you're going to find that you're going to get fitter than you think for your half marathon by doing your standard training for triathlon, and just make sure that the 3 runs you do have got the specificity building up to the race that you need. So make sure you build up your long run to the duration where it's just a bit longer than the half marathon, and make sure you've got one sort of tempo race pace type effort at the pace you're going to be racing at in your half marathon, and kind of gradually extend that across time in the 6 to 8 weeks leading up to the race. So you might start with 4 miles at half marathon race pace and go 4 miles, 6 miles, 8 miles, maybe with the strongest athletes up to 10 miles at half marathon pace, or break those up into chunks of intervals at 1 mile or 2 miles. And just see where the cards fall, and I think you'll be surprised how well you actually do in terms of a performance at a half marathon on the way to a triathlon performance.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, that's pretty much all the time we've got for this week, Hells. We're going to have to wrap it up. We are pushed for time. So listen, everyone, thanks ever so much for listening. If you want to get in touch, it's at Cup of Tri on Twitter, or we've got a Facebook account on there as well, which we occasionally check. But Twitter's probably the best way. If you've got any questions for Coach's Couch, you can email them through to Coach Rob Wilby at oxygenaddict.com. And thanks very much for listening. Until next week, I'm Coach Rob Wilby.
I'm Helen Murray.
And you've been listening to the Cup of Tri Triathlon podcast. Until next week, thanks everyone.